Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying Honorable Cheptumo served also as a member and later chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee and served with a lot of diligence as a chair of that committee, and those who were in the 12th Parliament with us, we remember the dedication with which the Honorable Cheptumo served this House as chair of the Delegated Legislation Committee, considering numerous regulations for approval in the House, and did so with a lot of intellect. Honorable Cheptumo, Honorable Speaker, happened to be a very good lawyer. And I was privileged, Honorable Speaker, to learn later after I served with him here that he had also worked with my wife, who was then working in the bank, and Cheptumo happened to be in one of the panels for that bank. And my wife attested when we finally met at some point somewhere, together with Honorable Cheptumo, she attested how diligent Honorable Cheptumo was in conveyancing and how much even those who worked in the bank trusted the work of the late Honorable Cheptumo. And is indeed a great loss, not just to his family, to the people of Baringo County, especially the people of Baringo North, whom he represented in this House for 2 terms as their Member of Parliament, but also the greater people of Baringo, who he served as their senator. It is sad that we have lost him at a time when the people of Baringo needed him the most. Honorable Speaker, I was also privileged to have served with Honorable Malulu Ijendi from the 11th Parliament, when we first joined this House together. And Malulu, the late Malulu, Honorable Speaker, again is a leader who exemplified himself as a servant, true servant of the people, and a true believer. Honorable Speaker, many members will bear me witness that the late Malulu never left his rosary wherever he went. And those who have served with the late Malulu in this House, those of the Catholic faith, will remember that Malulu Ijendi at all times had his rosary with him. And many of us nicknamed him Bishop. And indeed, where he used to sit, just behind where the Honorable Ikana is seated, he had a permanent position there, and every time as we walked out, we would say hi to him and call him Bishop. And he's indeed a great loss, not just to the people of Malava, his family, but to us as a nation. The late Malulu Ijendi was not just a true believer, but also a dedicated educationist. As a former teacher, he moved on to serve as our vice chair of the Education Committee, and the chair of the Education Committee will tell you the dedication.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Junnet.
Mr. Speaker, I stand to condole with the family of the departed members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am known to Honorable Ijendi Malulu, Mr. Speaker. We came in the 11th Parliament, I think, together to this Parliament, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, he was a very dedicated servant of the people, and somebody who had spent most of his time in his constituency, Mr. Speaker. He was rarely in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. Any time he had in his hand, Mr. Speaker, the member spent with his constituents, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker is a man who knew what he was doing. Because, Mr. Speaker, the love Honorable Ijendi Malulu had for his constituents, Mr. Speaker, was immeasurable. I remember during the elections, Mr. Speaker, we were campaigning and we had a candidate as a party against him, Mr. Speaker. But when we visited the constituency, we were told categorically that the most popular person in this constituency is Malulu Ijendi, Mr. Speaker, as an individual. On whichever party he contests. That is the information we were given on the ground. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask God to stand with his people, Mr. Speaker, at this trying moment. And Honorable Cheptumo, Mr. Speaker, also, we were together with him in this House. He was a very dedicated servant, Mr. Speaker, of the people. He was in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and we benefited as a House, Mr. Speaker, immensely from his knowledge of the Constitution and the law, Mr. Speaker. I served with him in Parliament, served with him in the House Business Committee, and Mr. Speaker, those are servants of people who have left us, Mr. Speaker, at a time when Kenyans really require their service, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I condole with the family and may God rest their souls in peace, Mr. Speaker.
Melly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I want to take this time to condole with the family of our two honorable colleagues, Honorable Cheptumo and Honorable Moses Malulu Njendi. Honorable Speaker, we came to this house with Honorable Malulu Njendi in 2013